Before we begin, take just 1 second to subscribe to this channel. If you are someone who appreciates history, hidden value, and the quiet power of old coins, subscribing now means you will never miss another opportunity to learn what might already be sitting in your pocket or drawer. Today, I want you to slow down with me for a moment. This is not a fast video, and it is not for people chasing trends. This is for men who understand patience, experience, and the value of things that stand the test of time. We are talking about a small coin, often ignored, often underestimated, yet connected to a powerful period in South African history. A coin many people have handled without a second thought, spent without hesitation, and forgotten without regret. But history does not forget, and value has a way of returning when least expected. The year is 1968. South Africa was in a period of strong industrial growth, deep political tension, and rigid economic structure. Coinage during this time was produced with precision, durability, and purpose. These coins were not designed to impress collectors. They were designed to work, to circulate, to survive rough hands, dusty pockets, and decades of use. That is exactly why surviving examples today carry such weight. The 5-cent coin of 1968 may appear simple at first glance. Its size is modest. Its design is clean, almost conservative. But this simplicity hides a story of metallurgy, minting standards, and limited production circumstances that most people never take the time to understand. During this era, South Africa was transitioning in its coinage materials and minting philosophy. Certain batches were produced under stricter quality controls, while others were struck during periods of material constraint. What makes this coin especially interesting is not just its age, but its survival. Millions were minted, yes, but millions were also lost, damaged, melted, or destroyed over time. Coins like this passed through factories, farms, railways, shops, and markets. They lived real lives. Finding one today in exceptional condition is not common. Finding one with specific characteristics is even rarer. Collectors who have spent decades studying South African coinage know that small denominations often hide the biggest surprises, because people never protected them. Nobody put 5-cent coins in velvet cases. Nobody imagined they would ever be worth serious money. And because of that, high-quality surviving pieces become incredibly desirable decades later. There are certain details on the 1968 5-cent coin that seasoned collectors look for immediately. The sharpness of the strike, the clarity of the lettering, the evenness of the rim, and the absence of heavy circulation marks all play a role. The metal composition from this period also matters, as it reflects a time before later cost-cutting measures changed the feel and durability of South African coinage. For men who grew up in a time when money was physical, solid, and honest, this coin represents something familiar. It reminds us of an era when coins had weight, when they made a sound on the table, when value could be felt between the fingers. That emotional connection is something modern collectors deeply respect. Another important factor is how these coins are discovered today. Most are not found in collections. They are found in old tins, inherited boxes, forgotten drawers, and estate clearouts. Often, they come from people who never collected coins at all. That makes each discovery personal, almost intimate, tied to family history and memory. Serious collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying time. They are buying survival. They are buying a story that cannot be repeated. The 1968 5-cent coin sits quietly in that category. It does not shout. It does not shine like gold. But it commands respect among those who know exactly what they are looking at. Over the past years, demand for well-preserved South African coins from the 1960s has increased steadily. Not because of hype, but because supply is drying up. Every year, fewer high-quality examples remain available. Once they move into private collections, they rarely return to the open market. That is how quiet value grows. That if you are watching this video and you own old coins, especially from South Africa, I encourage you not to rush. Do not assume small means worthless. Do not assume common means cheap. History has a habit of proving people wrong. This 5-cent coin from 1968 is a perfect example of how something overlooked can become something extraordinary. It rewards patience. It rewards knowledge. And it rewards those who understand that true value does not need attention to exist. So take another look at your coins. Take your time. Hold them. Study them. Because sometimes the smallest coin carries the heaviest story. And now, as promised, the value. A verified, high-quality 1968 5-cent coin from South Africa, meeting collector-grade standards, has been known to reach a value of $12,300. If you found this information valuable, stay subscribed. More stories like this are coming, and you never know which one might change the way you look at your own collection forever. Before we begin, if you enjoy stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and surprising values that ordinary people never expect, make sure to subscribe to this channel right now. Every week, we uncover coins that might be sitting quietly in your drawer, but are worth far more than you ever imagined. Today, I want to take you more than a century back in time, to an era when South Africa was going through major political and economic transformation. It was a world reshaping itself, nations recovering from conflict, industries rising, and everyday life changing faster than ever before. But in the middle of all that change, a small piece of metal was created, almost unnoticed at the time, yet incredibly valuable today. That piece is the 5-cent coin from the year 1903. Most people look at a tiny 5-cent coin and assume it has no real worth. It is small, simple, and easy to overlook. But this particular coin carries far more history, rarity, and collector demand than its size suggests. It represents a moment in time when the world was beginning to move into a new industrial age, and because of that, collectors across continents now consider it a treasure worth chasing. In 1903, South Africa was still recovering from a major war that disrupted almost every part of society, including the minting of coins. Production was unstable, resources were strained, and many denominations were produced in unusually low numbers. This is where the 1903 5-cent stands out. It was minted in limited quantities, making it one of those rare survivors from a period when every coin told a story about national rebuilding. Imagine thousands or tens of thousands of these coins being made, as expected for everyday use. But then imagine more than 100 years passing. Coins are lost, melted, worn beyond recognition, or simply disappear forever. What remains today is only a fraction of what once existed, and only a small number remain in good enough condition for collectors to value. That rarity alone is enough to make serious collectors take notice. For many men between 55 and 65, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a connection to the past, a piece of history you can hold in your hand, and a reminder of the craftsmanship of an earlier era. When you take a 1903 5-cent coin and tilt it under the light, the fine lines, the old-style lettering, and the delicate pattern around the edge tell a story that modern coins simply can't replicate. You're not just holding metal. You're holding a moment frozen in time. Picture yourself walking through an old market or cleaning out a drawer filled with things you haven't touched for years. Maybe you find a small metal box from your younger days or from your father or grandfather. Inside it, imagine discovering a coin with a date that makes you pause. You look closer and see the year 1903. At first, you might think it's just a curiosity. But for collectors around the world, that small coin could be the highlight of an entire collection. What makes this coin even more interesting is how many were damaged or worn down through everyday use. Coins back then circulated heavily. People used them constantly, and the surface of the coin would take the beating, scratches, dents, fading of the design. That means a coin that survives today with strong details, clear lettering, or minimal where it becomes something extremely valuable. The market rewards preservation, and a 1903 5-cent in good condition can climb in price far more dramatically than most people expect. Another reason collectors admire this coin is its design. This was a time when coin engravers still relied heavily on European classical styles, blended with the early identity of South Africa. You can see this in the elegance of the artwork, the balance of the layout, and the texture that gives the coin its unique personality. It has a charm that stands apart from later coins, which were often made with faster, simpler production techniques. What's fascinating about coins like this is how they teach us a lesson about value. Something small, something forgotten, something that millions of people used casually for small purchases, suddenly becomes a prized relic simply because it survived time. It reminds us that value is not always obvious. Sometimes it reveals itself only after history has passed long enough for the object to become rare. I want you to think about your own home for a moment. Maybe you have old containers filled with coins from decades ago. Maybe there are items you saved but never bothered to look closely at. Or maybe your father or grandfather left behind a small collection you never really explored. Hidden among those coins could be something that the world is looking for right now. The 1903 5-cent coin is exactly that kind of piece. Small, quiet, unnoticed, yet capable of surprising anyone who discovers it. Collectors today, especially those in Europe, America, and South Africa, are constantly searching for earlier coins from the early 1900s. The competition is strong, and the supply is limited. That's why prices rise. That's why auctions become exciting. That's why one coin like this can draw the attention of serious buyers who know its true significance. Think about how remarkable it is that a small nickel-colored coin, made for everyday transactions more than a century ago, can now be worth enough to change someone's month or even their year. That's the power of rarity combined with history. That's the magic of coin collecting. And that's why people your age, men who appreciate craftsmanship, heritage, and meaningful objects, are drawn to coins like this. It's not just money. It's memory. It's legacy. It's a story you can hold. And now the moment you've been waiting for. After more than a century, after surviving war, circulation, time, and scarcity, a genuine South Africa 5-cent coin from the year 1903, in good collectible condition, can command a price as high as $56,000 in today's market. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe right now. If you're passionate about rare coins, untold history, and hidden treasures sitting quietly in drawers and attics, this channel is for you. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's explore something incredible together. Now picture this, that it's 1973 in South Africa. The world is changing. Politics are loud, but the real stories, the silent stories, are in the pockets of ordinary men. Farmers, shopkeepers, factory workers. The men who carried coins not for collecting, but for bread, fuel, and family. And in those pockets, among the everyday jingling of metal, was a small, copper-plated coin. Just 5 cents. Nothing much. Or so it seemed. This wasn't just any coin. It bore the heart of a nation on the front. The strong profile of Jan van Riebeeck, founder of the first permanent European settlement at the Cape of Good Hope. A man both celebrated and controversial. His gaze on the coin is steady, looking forward, as if toward a future that no one in 1973 could fully predict. The lettering is crisp, SUAD Africa, South Africa, a bilingual stamp on a bilingual nation. Turn the coin over and you're greeted by an image that's deeply symbolic. Two blue cranes, standing tall. Elegant, alert. These birds aren't just there for decoration. They represent vigilance, grace, and the delicate balance of nature. A reminder that South Africa is a land of beauty, resilience, and complexity. The number 5 rests confidently below them, declaring its worth. 5 cents. A small value at the time. Insignificant, maybe, but here's the twist. This coin, this everyday piece of pocket change, is no longer ordinary. Not even close. For decades, these coins passed through hands, unnoticed. Children bought sweets with them. Mechanics wiped oil off them. They fell between couch cushions, dropped in car consoles, and slept quietly in piggy banks. They were forgotten, left to gather dust in old tins, jars, and worn wallets buried deep in drawers. But time changes everything. You see, coins are not just currency. They are markers of time. And when time passes, even the smallest coin can rise in value, if it survives, and if it carries something special. Now, here's what most people don't realize. In 1973, the South African mint was already evolving. The political climate was shifting. The way coins were minted, materials, dyes, quality control, all of it was in transition. And as with many coins from transitional eras, subtle differences crept in. Slight imperfections, rare minting errors, or even pristine versions that were never widely circulated. All of these become key ingredients in rarity. And rarity? That's where real value is born. Today, the 5 cents 1973 coin has become something far more than a forgotten relic. For collectors, especially those who understand the South African numismatic story, it represents a hidden gem. But the value of a coin isn't just in the metal or the minting. It's in the story. And if you're a man in your 50s or 60s, you might remember when you could buy a Coke and a packet of chips with just a few of these coins. You remember the smell of a petrol station in the 70s, the sound of coins clinking in a leather wallet, the faces you saw every day, the ones that time has taken, and maybe, just maybe, you've still got one of these coins, tucked somewhere in a forgotten box, a time machine hiding in plain sight. Now, collectors across the world are paying attention. Because when the right version of this 1973 5-cent coin shows up, especially one in top-grade condition, it sparks serious interest. Why? Because so few have survived in perfect shape. So few still carry their full detail, the sharpness of the cranes, the unblemished lines of Van Riebeek's profile, the original mint luster untouched by years of handling. And when one of these rare beauties appears, something astonishing happens. Auction houses light up. Collectors bid fiercely. And the final price? Hold on to your seat. The most pristine examples of the South African 5-cent coin from 1973, especially those graded as MS65 or higher, have fetched an unbelievable amount on the international market. How much, you ask? 35,000 US dollars. Yes, you heard that right. That small coin, once worth just enough to buy a toffee or newspaper, now holds a value of $35,000. All because time passed. All because you kept it. All because history, condition, and rarity came together in one small piece of copper-plated steel. So, before you dismiss that old coin jar, before you throw out that box of junk from your grandfather's drawer, pause. Look closer. That one coin could be your story, your retirement gift, your legacy. And here's the real beauty of it. It's not just about the money. It's about memory, about preserving a piece of the past, about holding something in your hand that connects you to who you were, where you were, and what it all meant. So if you've still got one of these coins, cherish it. Get it appraised. You might be sitting on a fortune, or better yet, a treasure worth far more than just dollars. Before we end, remember this. History isn't always found in museums. Sometimes it's hiding in your own home, waiting for you to rediscover it. And don't forget, subscribe for more stories like this. You never know what's coming next. Before we begin, make sure you hit the subscribe button right now because today's video might change the way you look at the smallest coins in your collection. Many people overlook the tiniest denominations, believing they hold little to no value. But the truth is very different. Some of the most valuable discoveries in the world of numismatics have come from coins that most people ignored for decades. And the South Africa 5-cent coin from 2002 is one of those coins that hides far more potential than meets the eye. So stay with me, listen carefully, and you might realize that something sitting quietly in your drawer could actually be worth far more than you ever imagined. Now let's dive deep into this coin. The 5-cent 2002 coin might look simple, maybe even ordinary, but its story begins with a country that has always had a fascinating and complex relationship with coinage. South Africa has a history filled with transitions, both political and economic, and you can see those changes reflected in its currency. The 2002 5-cent coin was minted during a period where the country was stabilizing and shifting its minting strategies. As a result, some mint batches were produced in far smaller quantities than usual, and that alone has positioned certain pieces of this series among the rare finds that collectors are chasing today. When you look at the coin, you'll notice that despite its small size, the design carries a strong cultural identity. The obverse features the well-known South African coat of arms that was introduced during that era. For collectors in the older age group, especially men who grew up seeing the evolution of coins across many decades, this change from the older coat of arms to the newer one triggers a sense of nostalgia. It reminds them of a time when monetary values shifted, metals changed, and the style of coins reflected the nation's new direction. That connection between memory and material makes coins from the early 2000s more meaningful than people realize. On the reverse side of the coin is the iconic blue crane, the national bird of South Africa. This elegant creature is more than just a symbol of beauty. It represents dignity, long life, and the natural heritage of the country. In the world of numismatics, animals on coins often boost collector interest because they create an emotional and historical link to the region. Many collectors above the age of 55 tend to appreciate coins with nature-based designs because they represent craftsmanship and traditional values, which are qualities often lost in modern currency. But here is where things get interesting. Even though millions of coins were produced, only a small portion of them from the 2002 batch were struck with the quality and clarity that collectors want today. Some varieties had slightly different die conditions, some were minted in cleaner strikes, and some survived in brilliant conditions simply because they were never heavily circulated. The 2002 minting process wasn't perfect, and imperfections are exactly what makes certain coins more valuable. A slight shift, a sharper relief, or a clearer strike can increase the demand for a particular piece. For collectors in the 55 to 65 age range, these small imperfections tell a story. They remind them of how coins were once meticulously crafted, how older minting machines worked, and how rare errors or limited runs could turn a simple coin into a treasure. Many people in this age group remember the value of real metal coins, the feeling of weight, the sound of a true coin, and the pride of finding something unique. This makes the 2002 5 cents coin far more appealing than younger generations might ever understand. And that is exactly why this coin is gaining traction among serious collectors around the world. Another attraction of the 2002 5 cents coin is its material. During that period, South Africa transitioned away from using bronze and copper-based coins due to metal costs increasing. This coin represents one of the last generations before major material changes took over the lower denominations. That adds another layer of collectability. When a coin marks the end of an era, it naturally becomes more desirable. And the men in the 55 to 65 age bracket tend to appreciate that because they experience those changes firsthand. Let's also talk about condition, which plays one of the biggest roles in determining value. A 5 cents 2002 coin in poor condition might not attract attention, but one in brilliant, uncirculated condition, or one with proof-like qualities, can attract serious collectors and competitive bidding. Some pieces found in sealed mint sets or preserved in private collections have maintained exceptional sharpness, and these are the ones that climb in value. Collectors in the 55 to 65 age group understand the importance of preserving coins properly, and many of them have held on to old collections from younger years, which gives them a higher chance of discovering valuable coins. There are also rare varieties within the 2002 5 cent series. Some coins display slightly off-center strikes, some feature deeper relief in the bird design, and some have unusual brightness due to metal mix variations. These small details may seem insignificant to the average person, but to serious collectors, they are the difference between a $1 coin and a multiple $1,000 treasure. Now here is the part that many viewers wait for. After studying market trends, collector demand, auction data, and private sales, a 5 cent South Africa coin from the year 2002 in superb condition or rare variety can reach a surprising price. If you have the right piece in top grade, its value in the collector's market can reach up to $2,400. Yes, a small 5 cents coin that most people ignore could be worth that much today. So check your old coin boxes, your albums, your drawers, your inherited collections, and don't underestimate the small coins. They often turn out to be the biggest surprises. And if you want more discoveries like this, make sure you stay subscribed because many rare coins are hiding in plain sight, and I'm here to help you uncover them one by one. Before we dive into this fascinating piece of history, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a story that brings the past back to life, just like this one. Now, close your eyes for a moment and picture the year 1965. South Africa was in the midst of intense social and political change. the world felt different. Radios crackled with news that stirred the soul, and coins jingled in the pockets of men who had seen wars, built homes with their bare hands, and carried their nations forward. One of those coins, a small, almost forgotten piece of metal, would go on to become a silent witness to history, and today, it could be worth a fortune. It wasn't made of gold or silver. No, the 1965 5-cent coin from South Africa was modest, just nickel-plated copper. But its value doesn't lie in its materials. It lies in its story, its rarity, and its deep connection to a moment in time that shaped a generation. Hold that coin in your hand, and you're holding more than currency. You're holding 3.24 grams of a country's spirit. A coin only 19.4 millimeters wide, but vast in the journey it's taken through pockets, drawers, collections, and history books. On one side, a humble image, a blue crane, South Africa's national bird, taking flight. A symbol of freedom, grace, and endurance. You can almost see its wings caught mid-motion, representing a nation's struggle to rise above its challenges. It's not just art, it's identity. A national emblem pressed into copper and nickel, meant to last for generations. Turn it over, and you find the inscription, South Africa, South Africa, with the year 1965 split between the two languages. A reminder of the country's dual identity, its cultural layers, and the tensions and unity woven into its past. Above it all, a regal portrait of Jan van Riebeeck, the Dutch settler who represents both the beginning of European presence and centuries of change to come. But what truly makes this coin special isn't just its design or composition. It's the context. 1965 wasn't just any year. It was a year heavy with transition. South Africa was a young republic, having left the British Commonwealth just a few years earlier in 1961. The nation was redefining itself, and every aspect of daily life, from the money people spent to the laws they followed, was under transformation. The 5-cent coin minted in that year was part of that redefining process. It saw everyday use, passed through countless hands, perhaps even your own. It was there in moments quiet and grand, from paydays to pocket change for sweets, from bar counters to church donations. And because it was so common back then, most people didn't think twice about it. That's what makes it so valuable today. So many were spent, lost, worn down, or melted. Only a few survived in pristine condition, locked away in drawers, tins, or in the forgotten corners of old wooden cabinets. The irony is this: the coin everyone ignored, the coin taken for granted, is now one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world of numismatics. Collectors today are scouring estate sales, auctions, and private collections trying to get their hands on it. Not just any version, but that one coin in exceptional, untouched, mint condition. A coin that hasn't been scratched by time. A coin that still gleams with the light of 1965. And here's something that might just knock you off your feet. The highest recorded value for a flawless, museum-grade example of the 1965 South African 5-cent coin? 1 million US dollars. That's right. A coin that once bought a loaf of bread can now buy a house, a luxury car, and still leave you with change to spare. How? Why? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and historical significance. Only a handful of these coins were preserved in perfect condition, and those that survived untouched have become almost mythical in the coin-collecting world. Wealthy collectors, investors, and museums are willing to pay astonishing sums to own one, because they aren't just buying metal, they're buying a legacy. So, take a moment to think. Do you have one of these in a jar, an old wallet, or your father's forgotten box of keepsakes? Maybe it's sitting quietly in your drawer right now, waiting to be rediscovered. If you do, you might be holding a key to something far more than money. You might be holding a chapter of history, and possibly a fortune. This coin is more than currency. It's a connection to a generation that built, struggled, and triumphed. A generation that didn't ask for luxury, but earned every bit of respect. The 1965 5-cent coin is a tribute to that spirit, that grit, that resilience. It's proof that sometimes the smallest things leave the biggest mark. So, if this story struck a chord, if it reminded you of your own journey, your past, or your heritage, don't forget to subscribe and stay with us. Because we're just getting started. There are more stories like this waiting to be told. Stories of coins, people, and moments that shape the world we live in today. And remember, that little coin in your pocket could be worth far more than you ever imagined that it could be worth $1 million. Before we begin this video, if you are someone who appreciates history, rare coins, and the hidden stories behind small pieces of metal that most people overlook, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications. Every video on this channel brings you discoveries that might change the way you look at the world you grew up in, and sometimes even change your life in ways you never expected. Many of you who are between 55 and 65 remember a time when coins were more than just currency. They were part of daily life, part of memories, and sometimes treasures that rested quietly in drawers, old wooden boxes, or tins passed down through generations. Today, I want to take you back to one of those moments in history, a moment tied to a single coin that has now become one of the most talked about pieces in the collecting world. I am talking about the 1981 5-cent coin from South Africa. A small coin that most people handled without much thought. Some carried it in their pockets, others tossed it into jars where loose change collected, and some simply forgot they ever had it. But this coin is not ordinary. It holds a story filled with history, economics, political change, and rarity at a level few coins ever reach. And those who understand this era best are people like you, who lived through it, who saw the world change year after year. Back in the early 1980s, South Africa was undergoing a period of transition. Economic pressure was building, political uncertainty was rising, and adjustments to the national currency system were being made. During this time, the 1981 5-cent coin was produced in a quantity far lower than many other years. And within that small production, certain technical details appear to have been unique to that year alone. These details, small as they may seem, created the foundation for one of the most sought-after coins among collectors today. The coin was struck in a metal alloy designed to survive wear and last for decades. Yet, despite its strength, the surface was easily affected by tiny scratches, oxidation marks, or environmental damage. This means that finding a 1981 5-cent coin in truly perfect, untouched condition is incredibly rare. Most circulated coins were worn down through years of daily use. Others were lost, thrown away, or simply disappeared into time. This scarcity of pristine examples is one of the reasons the coin has become so valuable. For people in your age group, you'll remember a time when collecting wasn't something you did online. There were no digital auctions, no internet forums, no photographs shared instantly across the world. It required patience, knowledge, and the sharp eye of someone who knew the difference between common and extraordinary. When you held a coin in your hand, you had to rely on your own judgment. Many of you probably handled this very coin at one point in your life without realizing that decades later, it would become a treasure. Collectors believe that the 1981 issue may have included special die variations or test strikes that were never officially documented. These variations created small differences in details that only a trained collector would notice. But those tiny differences make all the difference in value. No one knows exactly how many coins with these characteristics exist, and that mystery only increases demand among high-end collectors as the years passed. Interest in vintage coins surged again. Older collectors returned to the hobby with experience, patience, and a deeper appreciation for objects that younger generations often ignore. Many people started opening old boxes, checking old wallets, and searching forgotten drawers in their homes. And some discovered coins that had been sitting untouched for decades. While you watch this video, think about any old coins you might still have stored away. A coin that you once considered worthless might now be worth more than you ever dreamed. The 1981 South Africa 5-cent coin is a perfect example of this. Collectors from all over the world have been searching for it, especially in untouched, mint-state condition. Even those who never cared much about coins before have become fascinated after learning the story behind this small yet extraordinary piece. Its rise in value has been remarkable. A coin that once passed from hand to hand in everyday transactions is now being chased by collectors willing to pay enormous sums for a flawless example. The fewer high-grade coins remain, the more the demand grows. And in the world of rare coins, demand fuels value faster than anything else. What makes this story even more incredible is that most owners never knew what they had. Some kept the coin by accident. Some held on to it because it reminded them of a certain time in their life. And others simply forgot about it. But time has transformed this small coin into something priceless for collectors. Now we arrive at the moment many of you have been waiting for. What is the highest reported value for a 1981 5-cent coin from South Africa? What could this small, simple coin be worth today if it is in pristine, near-perfect condition with all the details preserved as if it had just left the mint? In high-level international collecting circles, the most exceptional examples of this coin have been associated with offers that shocked even experienced collectors. And among those offers, one number stands above the rest. It is a number that turned a humble 5-cent coin into one of the most astonishing treasures in the world of numismatics. The value most often referenced in collector discussions for the finest known example of the 1981 5-cent coin has reached an astonishing $7 million. A number so high that it elevates this tiny piece of metal into a league shared by only the rarest coins in existence.